Long before the concept of employee value proposition emerged, Medtronic had already formulated an EVP based on its strong corporate mission. Here to give us advice on the best way to formulate an EVP is Medtronic's Vice President of Global Rewards, Scott Sherman. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks, Marcia.
Scott, tell us the story behind the evolution of total rewards within Medtronic.
We, for years, as you've mentioned, have had an incredibly strong mission and culture in the organization. But it became evident to us that we needed to put a stake in the ground. We needed to say, what's our global total reward strategy, our global employee value proposition? We've grown dramatically over the last number of years throughout all corners of the world, and it just became time to clearly articulate what we wanted to be as it related to our employee value proposition.
Describe the process Medtronic used to align total rewards with its EVP.
So we really embarked early on in a project planning phase. So we spent some time understanding amongst our total rewards team, working with our leadership, and a number of consulting firms to say, what's the right process? Okay? What are the things we have to understand? What are the things we need to learn? What are the questions that we're trying to answer through the project? And so we got some counsel, we got some advice. We began working with now Towers Watson on a project that really caused us to say, what do our employees want? What does our organization want? And then really try to maximize the intersection of those two things. And so we went out around the world, we surveyed 10,000 employees in 10 countries in a number of different occupations or families or functions that we considered sources of competitive advantage for us. We got an over 50% response rate and really began to ask, what's important? We did a series of leadership surveys. Actually, Towers Watson did those for us. We wanted them to engage not just in a survey of top leaders, but conversations with top leaders around our reward strategy and our employee value proposition. We worked on understanding global governance. So if you're going to establish a rewards philosophy that's intended to be global and balanced, you need to have a governance philosophy, and you need to, for us, find the balance between being centralized and controlled and decentralized and vague or ambiguous. And so we also worked on a governance process and establishing the framework, and we did traditional market research. And we put all of those pieces together to try to understand what was the best way to go and how was the best way for us to evolve our strategy.
What advice do you have for a company that's contemplating creating or reviewing its EVP?
Marcia, I think folks have to understand what's the question they're trying to answer, or what are the questions they're trying to answer, and what problems are they seeking to solve. You need to know that before you start, otherwise you're going to boil the ocean yet again. And none of us have the time or the patience or the interest in doing that. So one is understand what you're trying to do. The second would be to get good help. There are many great partners out there to engage with and get good help. We actually are using multiple partners. We're using Towers Watson in the development of our philosophy, and we're using Mercer in the development of a new job structure. So get good help. The other thing would be understand your data. So data, we all talk about data, but data, when aggregated, can mask an enormous amount of reality. So I'd encourage folks, as they seek to aggregate data, to disaggregate that data also, and really look deep into it and see what they can learn.
Scott, thank you so much for joining us and sharing the story behind Medtronic's employee value proposition.
My pleasure.
For World at Work, I'm Marcia Rhodes.